How does that
No,
look?
I'm not saying that. You get some sense that there's a handful of stocks.
Look at that. I mean, you could tie that to the market. Bang. Hey, everyone out there. Welcome back to Commercial Break. I'm Guy Adami. I'm always joined by Tim Seymour. We truly hope your travels are going well. Tim, clearly your travels are going well. I see you have a pair of those aviator sunglasses on.
Oh, you like these? Yeah, these are, dude. Honestly, when I walk the streets wearing these things, I mean, people are not sure whether Maverick has decided to get off the base and just cruise his motorcycle up the sidewalk on what is that? Is that on Highway 1 where he's cruising that Suzuki Enduro with his babe on the back and the leather, just the wrong way on a sidewalk? By the way, I got to tell you, in New York City, I got messenger guys, delivery guys all over the place. Anyway, but what do you think? I mean,
I think
not
they
bad,
look
right?
great. I think they look great. And today we're going to get into Uber and Lyft, and you're going to be shocked how we get there. But, I mentioned Aviator. Immediately, I think of the great Martin Scorsese because he directed the movie Aviator with the great, and I say
That's
great because I love him, Leonardo DiCaprio, stud.
Love Leo, and he obviously loves Leo. But before we get there, I'm giving you the Maverick, dude. You look like you just got off the beach in that volleyball scene in Top Gun. And I gotta tell you, you look jacked. You got the muscle tee on. That's not really a muscle tee, but it's intended to be. I mean, I know what you're doing. You got a good workout in this morning. I'll tell you what. I hope you stayed hydrated out there, and I hope you're living smart. I mean, were you drinking some smart water?
Listen, you better be drinking smart water when you travel, and you definitely should live life smart. No, Tim, I didn't have a massive workout this morning. This is actually the t-shirts I wear under my dress shirts. But listen,
Well, you know what? You should not deprive the folks at home at commercial break. What you're doing underneath that shirt. So, all right. So Scorsese. Why are we talking about Taxi Driver? And
well,
obviously, I think we're going to have to talk about Lyft and Uber because they are the taxis of today.
well, that's exactly right. And it was this week in 1976 that
Okay.
Taxi Driver was released with the great
Damn.
Robert De Niro and a very young Jodie Foster. By the way, Sybil Shepherd. We'll get into that in a minute, though, Tim.
So 76. I'm 10. What am I? I'm in fifth grade or something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
Living on Green Acres Avenue there, not with Arnold the Pig. Harvey Keitel
Sure.
was in that movie. I'm trying to think who else was in there, but right, Jodie Foster. Okay, so Jodie Foster was 12 when that movie was made, and arguably her best acting performance. It's incredible to think of. It's incredible to think about the career she's had. I mean, think of some of those movies. I could rattle off a few, but you got a favorite Jodie Foster?
Well, it's funny, every once in a while on Fast Money, I'll just sort of say things completely out of context. And Erin Burnett was hosting the show years ago, and
Yep,
she asked
yep.
me a question about like Boeing or something, which I had no interest in answering. But I turned to her and said, "What's your favorite movie?" A complete non sequitur, as they say, which I can't spell. And she looked at me and she said,
No,
"Contact, the movie Contact." And I was so taken aback. I'm like,
that's not a movie you come out with, right? I mean, it's just
"No,
not like you could go Superman, you could go Star Wars, you could go Raiders of the Lost Ark. You don't come out with Contact. So
no." To this day, I think Matthew McConaughey was in that movie. I mean, it was an okay movie, but it was not. It's not Jodie Foster's favorite movie anyway. But you're right, Jodie Foster, great actress, probably even better producer director. She's brilliant. Yale grad, by the way.
She's made more money behind the camera than in front of it. In fact, there's like some rumors going around. If you look up on the internet, is she a billionaire? Is she an heiress billionaire? I'm going to go with. I mean, look, Silence of the Lambs is the obvious one. Foxes is the one no one ever mentions, and I just like the song because they played the song 20th Century Fox by The Doors, which is a great song, and I think that's off of Morrison Hotel, which might have been filmed on that same street corner in Santa Monica where Maverick was riding up the sidewalk. How about Bugsy Malone? When I say Bugsy Malone, what rolls off your tongue after that?
Okay, so I think one of two things. I know where your head is at. You obviously think of Carl the Mailman Malone, and then John
No.
Stockton. And no, so you think of Bugsy Siegel, perhaps.
No, I think of Muggsy Bogues. I think of Muggsy Bogues, who was all 5'3" of him. By the way, like he was a point guard. Like forget, the point guard today in the NBA is the guy that's also supposed to jack threes. Muggsy Bogues was dishing the rock. By the way, Muggsy Bogues, and I know you know this. What's the most important thing about Muggsy Bogues' career? And it really was kind of the very start of his career.
His ability to get off his feet at that
Yes,
size.
he
and
had
to
some
dunk
hops,
like,
as we say.
I mean,
Yeah.
him and Spud Webb did things that are, you look at them and you say there's no human way possible that they could do what they do, both him and Spud.
Are you getting the bottom of the net even when you're jumping? I mean, are you getting even close? Just come on, dude.
See, now
don't. You're so offended.
Now you're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing yourself.
No, the greatest thing about Muggsy Bogues is he was part of the greatest high school basketball team of all time, Dunbar Poets in Baltimore. And I'm talking about Muggsy Bogues, Reggie Williams, Reggie Lewis. I think one other dude that made the pros.
I think Wingate was on that team as well. David Wingate from Georgetown University, who had a cup of coffee, I think, with the Spurs of San Antonio, if I'm not mistaken. And listen, we've gotten down basketball. Let me ask you a question because I'm curious as to this. I'm going to read some. These are all Scorsese movies, by the way, and forgive me as I read, but I think it's important, Tim. Mean Streets, the aforementioned Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, King of Comedy, Goodfellas. Very underrated movie, by the way, with Nick Nolte, Robert De Niro, and what's her name? I can't think of her name. You'll know it in a second. But
what movie?
Cape Fear. Cape Fear.
Yeah, Barbara Streisand.
No,
Babs.
not Barbara Streisand.
No?
Cape Jessica Lange. I can't believe I couldn't pull that. Casino, Gangs of New York. We mentioned The Aviator, Departed, Wolf of Wall Street. Now, just let me say one thing about the Wolf of Wall Street and that little nebbish that was apparently the wolf. They couldn't find Wall Street, those guys, with a GPS machine. They were out there in Lake Success, Long Island or something, getting things done. Anyway, I digress.
No. Look. By the way, I've watched you mix it up a little bit with the wolf on Twitter. And you know what? If he wants a piece of us right now in commercial break, bring it on, dude. Because again, what you guys were doing in a parking lot halfway out in Long Island, people weren't even thinking about doing on Wall Street. So there you go. All right, Scorsese movies. Look, I tell you what, the Gangs of New York is a history lesson that everybody needs to take. And DDL, also known, or D squared L, Daniel Day-Lewis. Like every role that guy plays, it's as if he was born in that outfit. Is the best. Let's talk about Taxi Driver, dude, because I think the 76. The reality is, I can't get a taxi in New York City right now, even if I wanted to find Robert De Niro.
But you can get an Uber, and that's really what we wanted to talk about real quick, of Uber and Lyft. But both those stocks getting off the mat, and it appears as though maybe the worst is behind them in terms of stocks.
Well, look, I don't love what I think Uber and Lyft have done to urban realities and urban culture. And frankly, I think there's a lot of yellow cabbie drivers, medallion drivers that have been hurt by this whole process. And I think they've jacked up prices. So transportation as a service was supposed to be something that actually was good for us all. I think taxi prices are higher. Having said that, Uber over Lyft, you ask me, I'm going to tell you Uber all day long. And if you look at their recent numbers, and again, like this whole reopening dynamic, it's not a question. We're coming back, folks. We're coming back big. We're traveling. Folks are running around the airports right now. They're kicking back in hotel rooms. But I got to tell you, deliveries for Uber up 11%. Their gross bookings up 50%. I know they haven't been the simplest business model to follow, but they're the best one, and they're actually profitable.
I like Lyft over Uber, but as they say, Tim, that's what makes markets. Regardless, we do hope your travels are going well. You catch commercial break where if you're traveling, Tim, chances are you will see our mugs up on a screen somewhere.
Yeah, and don't get caught watching the TV, sipping on your smart water. I mean, you got to get to the gate in a hurry, guy, and you can't get a taxi in the airport. So look, around 6 p.m., I'm Tim Seymour. He's Guy Adami. What are we doing, and who are we?
We're hydrating, we're living life smart, and we are commercial break.
Right on.